name is Tarai Miranda. I am the chairperson of the Board of Trustees of the Assupol Community Trust. I would like to extend a warm welcome to the Board of Trustees, the representatives of the designated communities of Umsinga, Ngutu, and Nelmapias present with us, our partners, stakeholders, and everyone attending this annual general meeting for the Trust. Please note that we are webcasting and recording this morning's proceedings so that we can prepare minutes for stakeholders, trustees, and all involved that are unable to attend. With us today, seated at the studio, is Dr. Vuyelwa Nhlapo, who is the CEO of the Trust, and Ms. Reiki Ponsia, who is the Senior Executive Manager of Group Finance at Assupol Life. The agenda of the AGM has been circulated accordingly. At this point, I would like our Secretariat to establish if the meeting is duly called forms a quorum for the AGM.
Thank you, Chair. The Board of Trustees fixed 5 October 2023 as the record date for the AGM where stakeholders are entitled to vote. The notice of the AGM and the proxy statement were emailed to all stakeholders. The quorum of 50% of the mandated designated community representative is present, therefore a quorum is formed. If no quorum, the meeting will be on for 30 minutes before the meeting can be postponed, same day, 10 business days later at the same time and venue. I confirm the quorum.
Thank you. On the basis of the Secretary's report, the meeting is duly convened. The polls for each matter voted on at this meeting will open when all of the proposals have been presented and will close immediately prior to adjournment. Now we will conduct the formal business as set forth in the notice of the meeting. In order to conduct an orderly meeting and give all eligible stakeholders an opportunity to participate, we will follow the proceedings in the agenda. During the conduct of the formal business, questions and comments from the floor should pertain to the specific proposal under consideration. I ask that anyone wishing to speak or raise a question should write it on the comment section. I would like at this point to hand over to Dr. Vuyelwa Nhlapo.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Vuyelwa Nhlapo. I'm the Chief Executive Officer for Assupol Community Trust. Let me start by greeting the Board of Trustees of the Trust, led by the Chairperson, Assupol Holdings Executive and staff, the local ECD committees representing the designated communities we serve in Umsinga, Ngutu, and Nelmapias, our partners and key stakeholders, the Trust team, and everyone attending this annual general meeting today. It is proper to first say thank you to all our internal and external stakeholders, our partners and the ECD sector, whom without them it would not be possible to achieve what we have achieved. Siyabonga kakhulu ngokusebenzisana. Thank you very much, Chairperson, for allowing me an opportunity to present the annual report for the Trust. This report is for the period 1st March 2022 to 28 February 2023. The structure in my presentation, I will first outline the purpose of the presentation. Secondly, the review of the strategy. Thirdly, the vision, mission, and values of the Trust. Fourthly, strategic goals, our key strategic objectives and desired outcomes we want to achieve through the objectives. Then I will share our performance on key strategic objectives. I will then conclude by indicating challenges we faced during the year under review. The purpose of this presentation is to provide an annual performance report to the annual general meeting of the Trust on the implementation of the operational plan for period 1 March 2022 to 28 February 2023. Just taking you through the strategic review, it is important for this meeting to note that the Trust reviews its strategy every 3 years. This report provides the review of the first year of the new strategy for 2023 to 2025. In analyzing the previous strategy of 2020 to 2022, it became clear that the Trust was on track in addressing challenges faced by the ECD sector. This was evident in its vision and commitment in investing its resources to facilitate universal access to ECD, enhance the quality of ECD in the underprivileged communities, and making a lasting contribution through ECD infrastructure improvement. In reviewing the strategy, the Trust has outlined the strategic goals it seeks to achieve. The new strategy further indicated opportunities to be explored in the next 3 years. These opportunities include raising awareness and advocating for the importance of the first 1,000 days in child's life, providing parental support to enable the parents and caregivers to support the development of their children, and to strengthen the goal of building sustainable ECD centers. Our vision, mission, and values are as follows. Our vision is every child in the communities that Assupol Community Trust serves is ready for the future. Our mission is facilitating a meaningful contribution to the access of quality early childhood development in the designated areas. We have values that guide us in delivering our services, and our values are care and empathy. We care for our staff and all the children we serve, including children with disabilities. We are responsive. We continually look for solutions for our context. We need to be agile and flexible to achieve under different circumstances. Respect. We treat all stakeholders, children, ECD practitioners, parents and caregivers, fellow trustees and staff equally with respect and dignity. Empowerment. We have a passion for what we do. We strive for quality in all we do. We serve a nation inclusive of all stakeholders. Collaborative. We engage with communities and other stakeholders towards sustainability. We look for opportunities to empower all those we work with in our ecosystem. Integrity and accountability. We are ethical in all we do. We are transparent in everything we do. Let us look at our strategic goals. Imigomo yamasu. The first one, to facilitate the growth and development of children, including children with disability, through the access to quality ECD programs, services, and nutrition. Ukugqugquzela ukukhula nokuthuthuka kwezingane, kuhlanganise izingane ezinokukhubazeka ngokutholakala kwezinhlelo eziyiquality ze-ECD, izinsizakalo nokudla okunomsoco. The second one, to build the capacity of ECD practitioners and parents and caregivers in order to provide a quality ECD experience for children. Ukuthuthukisa ikhono lothisha be-ECD nabazali nabanakekeli ukuze sinikeze izingane i-ECD equality. The third one, to enable and empower ECD centers to comply, gain access to funding, and become self-sustainable businesses. Ukusiza nokufukula izikhungo ze-ECD ukuze zithobele umthetho, zithole uxhasomali, futhi zibe amabhizinisi azimele. The fourth one, to foster stakeholder relationships and partnerships in order to ensure a collaborative approach in realizing our purpose. Ukukhuthaza ubuhlobo nababambi eqhaza nozakwethu ukuze siqinisekise ukubambisana ukuze sifinyelele inhloso yethu. To provide leadership and management of the operations of the Assupol Community Trust through skilled staff, good governance, and monitoring and evaluation. Ukunikeza ubuholi nokuphathwa kwemisebenzi ye-trust ngezisebenzi ezinamakhono, ukuphatha okuhle kanye nokunakekela nokuhlaziya phecelezi monitoring and evaluation. Our key strategic objectives, imigomo yamacebo eyinhloko. The Board of Trustees developed the following key strategic objectives for the period from 2022 to 2025. The first one, to improve access to children between 0 to 5 years in Nelmapias, Umsinga and Ngutu by 2025. Ukuthuthukisa ukutholakala kwezinhlelo ezinganeni ezineminyaka ephakathi kwengu-0 to 5 ubudala eNelmapias, eMsinga naseNquthu ngo-2025. The second one, to improve quality of ECD services in Nelmapias, Umsinga and Ngutu by 2025. Ukuthuthukisa equality yezinsizakalo ze-ECD eNelmapias, eMsinga naseNquthu ngo-2025. Thirdly, to train and develop practitioners to have the skills to provide a quality ECD experience. Ukuqeqesha nokukhulisa othisha ukuze babe namakhono okunikeza i-ECD equality. To provide practitioners with the skills to support children with disabilities. Ukunikeza othisha amakhono okweseka izingane ezinokukhubazeka. The next one, to provide parental support to empower them to play an active role in their children's education. Ukweseka abazali ukuze bakwazi ukudlala indima ebalulekile emfundweni yezingane zabo. The next strategic objective, to develop community awareness on the importance of ECD and the first 1,000 days of their children's lives. Ukuqwashisa umphakathi ngokubaluleka kwe-ECD nezinsuku zokuqala ezi-1,000 zempilo yezingane zawo. The next one, to facilitate compliance with basic standards of registration, health and safety in line with the Children's Act of 2005 and municipal bylaws in Nelmapias, Umsinga and Ngutu by 2025. Ukuqhuquzela ukuthobela umthetho ngezimiso eziyisisekelo zokubhalisa ezempilo nokuphepha ngokuvumelana nomthetho wezingane ka-2005 nemithetho nkqubo kamasipala eNelmapias, eMsinga naseNquthu ngo-2025. The next one, to mentor and train ECD centers become sustainable through good management practices and good governance. Ukusiza nokuqeqesha izikhungo ze-ECD zikwazi ukuzimela ngemikhuba emihle yokuphatha nokuqondisa okufanele. To promote good governance, partnerships and stakeholder relationships in the city of Tshwane and Umzinyathi district, ukukhuthaza ukuphatha okufanele ubambiswano nobuhlobo nababambi qhaza e-city of Tshwane nasemzinyathi district. To train and develop staff to ensure good trust management, governance and succession plan. Ukuqeqesha nokusiza izisebenzi ukuze kuqinisekiswe ukuphathwa kwe-trust okuhle, ukuqondiswa nohlelo lokulandelana kwezikhundla. To implement an M&E system to allow for the effective measurement of outcomes and impact. Ukufaka uhlelo lwe-M&E ukuze kulinganiswe ngempumelelo imiphumela nomthelela. To ensure the trust has an effective and trained board. Uqiniseka ukuthi i-trust inebhodi elisebenzayo neliqeqeshiwe. These are the outcomes that we want to achieve through our work. The first one is increase the number of children accessing ECD in Nelmapias, Msinga and Ngutu. Sifuna ukwandisa isibalo sezingane ezithola i-ECD eNelmapias, Msinga naseNgutu. The second outcome, we want to increase the number of children living in an environment of care development, safety and security. Sifuna ukwandisa isibalo sezingane eziphila endaweni enokunakekelwa, intuthuko, ukuphepha, nokuvikeleka. The third one, we want children to perform better and be ready for school, particularly in terms of health, growth, and nutrition. Sifuna izingane ezenza kangcono futhi ezilungele ukuya esikolweni ngokwempilo, ukukhula nokondleka. We also want parents to be involved and support the development of their children. sifuna abazali abaneqhaza nabasekela ukukhula kwezingane zabo. The City of Tshwane District Municipality, Msinga Municipality and Ngotu Municipality, we would like them to prioritize ECD through funded programs in their integrated development plans. Sifuna City of Tshwane, Umzinyathi District Municipality, Umsinga Municipality neNgotu nomasipala waseNgotu zibeke phambili i-ECD ngezinhlelo ezixhaswa ngemali ezinhlelweni zezentuthuko ezihlanganisiwe phecelezi ama-IDP. Let us now look at the progress on strategic objectives. The first one, to improve access to children between 0 to 5 years in Nelmapias, Umsinga and Ngotu by 2025. Iningi lezingane ezincane eningizimu Afrika libhekene nezingqinamba eziningi zezenhlalo nezomnotho. Eziningi zalezi zingane zaphucwa amalungelo azo asemqoka ezenhlalo nezomnotho, ikakhulukazi ilungelo lazo le-ECD ngenxa yobandlululo kanye nokungalingani kwezenhlalo nezomnotho okwaba umphumela. I-NDP ne-National Integrated ECD Policy zizibophezele ekutheni zonke izingane eningizimu Afrika kufanele zithole izinsiza eziphelele ze-ECD. Imfundo ibhekwa njengelungelo lobuntu nendlela esemqoka yokufinyelela amanye amalungelo obuntu. I-UNESCO ka-2020 ibika ukuthi ukunakekelwa nemfundo yezingane zisencane ihlanganisa zonke izingane ngempela futhi ingaphezu nje kokulungiselela isikole samabanga aphansi. Ubufakazi bomhlaba wonke bubonisa ukuthi imikhankaso ye-ECD ingavikela izingane emitheleleni yobumpofu nokuthi ukutshala imali ezinhlelweni ze-ECD zezingane kunomthelela omkhulu ekunciphiseni ubumpofu nokungalingani kwabantu kuwo wonke umphakathi. Achieving universal access to quality ECD services for all children presents the single greatest opportunity to reduce structural inequality in South Africa. In particular, investing in early learning programs is a cost-effective strategy to build South Africa's social infrastructure brings multiple benefits to women, particularly Black women, by providing decent jobs, advancing gender equity, and stimulating the local economy and thwarting the future chances of their children. The COVID-19 pandemic has had significant impacts on children 0 to 5 years accessing ECD. The Trust registered a significant decline in the number of children accessing ECD during 2020 to 2021 and 2021 to 2022 financial years. With the decline in the number of COVID-19 infections and the subsequent upliftment of all restrictions in 2022, there has been improvement in the number of children accessing ECD during the year under review. A total of 3,751 new children accessed ECD services in Nelmapias, Umsinga, and Ngotu during 2022 to 2023 financial year. This number constitutes a 70% rise from the previous financial year. This means that there is an improvement of 1,086 more children when compared to 2,665 children who accessed ECD in the past financial year. During the year under review, the Trust has seen 1% increase in improving access to ECD programs for children with disabilities. There were 59 children with disabilities that accessed ECD during the year under review. Similar to the previous year, a majority of these children come from Gauteng. Given the low number of children with disability who access ECD, this signifies an improvement in the year under review. Let us look at the second strategic objective, which is to improve quality of ECD services in Nelmapias, Umsinga, and Ngotu by 2025. On this strategic objective, we focused on 2 areas, namely provision of nutritious food and provision of learning material. On provision of nutritious food, young children whose brains are rapidly developing need a nutrient-dense diet to help them as they process the world around them. The following 2 activities were implemented as part of provision of nutrition. We provided nutritious porridge, and in the year under review, 95% of children were regularly fed with nutritious porridge. The remaining 5% is the children who did not come back to the centers in January 2023, obviously going to primary school, some of them. This porridge provides 75% of the total daily nutrients intake required by each child, which means that each child from very poor households will receive the majority of the nutrients they require per day. GEM South Africa continued to provide training to the ECD centers, day mothers, and play group facilitators to ensure that the porridge was prepared and stored in a clean and hygienic environment. There's no doubt the Trust is realizing the benefits of providing nutrition to children, particularly in KwaZulu-Natal, where there are highest levels of poverty and unemployment. This is evident in the improved access to ECD. Furthermore, we have recorded an increase in the results of pre- and post-feeding assessments. On provision of food gardens, we also supported 90 ECD centers by providing agricultural inputs to enable them to establish food gardens with a slogan, every food garden for every ECD center. These gardens produce nutritious vegetables that can supplement feeding programs and in some instances can generate additional income for the centers, particularly those ECD centers that are not funded. This target was achieved with 100%. On provision of learning materials have a great influence on learning and behavior of the children in the ECD centers. The Trust invests in providing age-appropriate learning materials through playmats and toy libraries. The learning materials are intentionally linked to the curriculum. The Trust planned to establish 3 libraries in Nelmapias, Umsinga, and Ngutu. During the reporting period, 2 toy libraries were established in one in Umsinga and one in Ngutu. In Gauteng, the establishment of the toy library was deferred to 2023-2024 financial year due to compliance challenges that need to be addressed. The Trust aimed to provide learning materials to 162 ECD centers through the establishment of the toy libraries. However, the processes towards the establishment of the toy libraries took longer than we expected. This year's budget was mainly for ensuring that all procedures and processes are in place before operations can commence. The learning material will therefore be distributed during 2023 to 2024 financial year. The Trust, however, provided playmats as part of learning material to 124 ECD centers, and this was a 100% achievement. With regard to the next objective on training and development of practitioners to have the skills to provide a quality ECD experience, ECD practitioners who work within the ECD programs are expected to be competent in their work. To run ECD centers which are efficient, sustainable, and effective in caring for young children, it is essential that ECD principals and practitioners be skilled. The Trust exceeded the target of 520 by training 530 ECD practitioners, including day mothers and playgroup facilitators in Nelmapias, Ngutu, and Umsinga. The training programs included the following, amongst others. There's quite a number of programs. Just to mention a few: disability training, day mother training, NQF Level 4 training, basic ECD training, child safeguarding and protection policy, good governance training. The next strategic objective on to provide practitioners with the skills to support children with disabilities. Children with disabilities are often excluded or overlooked in mainstream ECD programs, therefore missing out on important opportunities to receive the specialist support and services they need to meet their rights and needs. The biggest challenge for ECD practitioners is identifying and stimulating children with disabilities in their centers. However, after the trust training program, practitioners were able to identify children with disabilities, thus increasing the number of children with disabilities accessing ECD. The trust planned to train 30 ECD practitioners to support children with disability in Umsinga and Ngotu, and as part of a pilot. The performance was exceeded by 59 because in Nelmapias, there was additional training that was conducted in partnership with Early Care Foundation. The total for ECD practitioners trained to support children with disability was at 89. On the next strategic objective, to facilitate compliance with basic standards of registration, health and safety in line with the Children's Act of 2005 and municipal bylaws in Nelmapias, Umsinga and Ngotu by 2025. This strategic objective focused on 3 areas. The first focus area is the screening of staff for security clearances in line with the Children's Act of 2005. Staff should be assessed to ensure they do not have criminal records or a history that would preclude them from working with children. Abasebenzi kufanele bahlaziwe ukuze kuqinisekwe ukuthi abanawo umlando wobugebengu noma umlando ongabenza bangakwazi ukusebenza nezingane. Out of a target of 101 ECD practitioners screened, all 101 practitioners were screened by the trust in Nelmapias, Umsinga and Ngotu during the year under review. It is encouraging to see this improvement in this indicator, as in the past 2 years, this was not achieved due to COVID-19 restrictions. The second focus area is the improvement of infrastructure to provide conducive learning and ensure that children learn in a safe environment. Indawo yesibili esagxila kuyo ukuthuthukiswa kwenqalasizinda ukuze ngokuvumelana nomthetho wezingane nemitheshwana kahulumeni inqalasizina ikhuthaze ukufunda futhi izingane ziphephe kuleyo nqalasizinda. Through infrastructure, we renovate existing centers and build newly fully fledged ECD centers with 2 or 3 classrooms, an office, a sick bay, the kitchen, storeroom, and ablution facilities. For the first time in KZN, we are happy to indicate that the trust built a new center with 5 classrooms. That is like a primary school. This focus area accounts for the bulk of our budget each year, and it is the most challenging given the onerous processes we have to adhere to in order to comply with the regulatory framework. Le ndawo esigxile kuyo yakha ingxenye enkulu yebudget yethu unyaka ngamunye futhi yiyona eyinselele kakhulu uma kubhekwa izinqubo ezinqala okufanele sinamathele ukuze sithobele uhlaka lomthetho. Lastly, as part of ensuring compliance to COVID-19 protocols, the trust provided personal protective equipment to 238 centers and monitored all 238 ECD centers for the usage of PPE. This constitutes 100% of the ECD centers that were supported with PPE in all the 3 areas, Ngotu, Singa, and Nelmapias. On the next strategic objective to mentor and train ECD centers become sustainable through good management of trust practices and good governance. During the review of the new strategy, the Board of Trustees recommended that the trust need to develop a sustainability strategy that will guide the ECD centers to become sustainable through good management and good governance. For an ECD center to succeed over the long term, sustainability is crucial. Sustainability is therefore important in ensuring that ECD centers produce sustainable outcomes. Socially, sustainable practices can help to strengthen community bonds, improve quality of life, and provide hope for a better future. During the year under review, 95 ECD centers were provided with a policy package to ensure good governance and guide their daily operations. These ECD centers were also trained on how to implement the various policies. On the next strategic objective, to promote good governance, partnerships, and stakeholder relationships in the city of Tshwane and Umzinyathi district. This strategic objective comprises of two areas: partnerships. Number one, we had planned to establish 3 partnerships. However, 2 partnerships were established during the year under review. We continue to maintain 4 existing partnerships that we had formed during the previous financial years. The relationships with our governmental and non-governmental partners in KwaZulu-Natal continue to be constructive and mutually beneficial. Ubuhlobo nozakwethu abakuhulumeni nabangekho kuhulumeni KwaZulu-Natal buyaqhubeka bakha futhi buhlomulise izinhlangothi zombili. The trust is still working very hard to build and strengthen relations with the city of Tshwane to the benefit of the children in the area. Stakeholder, on the second part, which is stakeholder meetings, the trust continued during the period under review to adapt to the new ways of communicating with its stakeholders. All stakeholder meetings, such as the annual general meeting like we are doing now, interdepartmental technical task team meetings, and ECD forum meetings were continued to be conducted remotely in order to comply with COVID-19 regulations. The trust supported local ECD committees in Nelmapias, Umsinga, and Ngutu. Out of the target of 9 programs supported the LEC, the trust exceeded the target and supported 14 LEC programs. The LEC serves as a governing body that represents the voice of the community of Nelmapias, Umsinga, and Ngutu on the trust board. Siyawubonga kakhulu umsebenzi walama komiti ebambisene ne-trust. On the next strategic objective, to train and develop staff to ensure good trust management, governance, and succession plan, training and development of employees must be given top priority in every organization because it is crucial to both the operation and the succession plan. With this in mind, the trust makes investment in its personnel to retain competent staff members who will work effectively and productively. As part of staff training and development, 10 staff members were trained in various skills development. The staff retention was at 90%, with 9 positions out of 10 filled and 1 position vacant, which is the project manager for Gauteng. The vacant position of the project manager for Gauteng has since been filled. The Board of Trustees continues to effectively discharge its fiduciary duties and protect the trust's best interests through its decision-making processes. On the strategic objective to implement an M&E system to allow for the effective measurement of outcomes and impact, the trust appointed a service provider to conduct an evaluation study which was aimed at providing the trust and its stakeholders with an independent reflective assessment of its work over the period of implementation of the previous strategic plan of 2020 to 2022. The aim of the study was to ensure that the next strategy builds on lessons learned from the implementation of the Trust strategic objectives. The review indicated overwhelming evidence that the work of the Trust had significantly impacted children 0 to 5 in the designated areas, namely Nelmapias, Ngutu, and Umsinga. The ECD intervention program in all its components had created an ecosystem of universal access, learning and stimulation, improved and compliant ECD infrastructure, qualified and competent ECD practitioners, healthy learners, and empowered caregivers, including parents, who were able to sustain the investments on financial and human capital made by the Trust between 2020 to 2022. The return on the Trust social investment was evident. We have various infrastructure pictures just to show you the work that we've done as the Trust. You can see the before and after. This is the work that we have done. We also show you the school, the primary school that I claim we have made there with 5 classrooms. Yes, you can see the before and after. This is the infrastructure that we have done. These are the food gardens that provide nutritious food to children. Just to give you the picture. We did not achieve all this work without experiencing challenges. The Trust continues to experience challenges in the implementation of the strategic objective, particularly on facilitating on facilitating compliance in Nelmapias. This is exacerbated by complicated bylaws on registration in the urban areas and relations with the city of Tshwane that require improvement. We continue to trust that the relations with the city of Tshwane will improve for the benefit of children in Nelmapias. In closing, let me conclude by emphasizing our continued commitment in expanding our initiatives to accelerate universal access to ECD in the designated communities. As the Trust, we are committed. We are also excited to embark on this journey with you in order to further broaden the perspectives of the Trust. Mandi bambe ngazibini ndibulele ukuthatha elithuba ni phulaphule umsebenzi wethu we-Trust. Inkosi.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Nhlapo. Well done. I would like to extend thank you to you, your employees, and all the stakeholders. Please, may we all give Dr. Nhlapo a round of applause. On that note, I would like to hand over to Reiki so that she can take us through the financial presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I think we're just having a session between the screens here.
Just give us, can you take a 5-minute break while Reiki prepares for her presentation? Thank you. can take it from here.
Good morning. I have the pleasure to present to you an overview of the annual financial statements of the Community Trust for the year ended 28 February 2023. The contents of my presentation will cover the following: the purpose, the overview, the income statement, the resources of the income, project expenses, and the balance sheet. The purpose of this presentation is to present the 2023 financial statements to the annual general meeting of the Community Trust for the Trust financial year March 2022 to February 2023. The Board of Trustees approved the audited financial statements on the 20th of July 2023. This was prepared on a going concern basis with the Trust-specific basis of accounting. This basis is consistent with the previous year. Unqualified audit opinion was issued and no material events were noted after year end. On the income statement, you will note that the Trust reported a profit of 33 million for the financial year against a loss of 15.4 million in the previous financial year. The pandemic no longer having an impact on the activities of the Trust. If you're looking at the income resources, you will note by looking at the resource of income that the income has increased in comparison to the previous financial year. The main contributors here being the dividend of 21.7 million that was received from the investment in the Assupol group and the increase in the fair value of that investment. On project expenses, the project expenses to the value of 32.4 million, an increase of 23.6% against the 26.2 million in the previous financial year. The Trust has been able to increase its activities in various projects in both Gauteng and in KwaZulu-Natal. And then on the balance sheet reflects the healthy financial position of the Trust with total assets of 367.3 million and liabilities of just below 1 million. The trustees monitor the funds in the Trust on a regular basis to ensure that sufficient funds are preserved for the future, but also that the necessary funds are spent where the need is identified. Thank you. That concludes basically the summary of the annual financial statements. Thank you.
Thank you, Reiki, and would also like to extend gratitude and a big thank you to you and your team. May we give Reiki a round of applause and thumbs up on the screen, people.
Thanks.
I would like to open the floor for the duly elected stakeholders to vote for the adoption of the following resolution. Resolution number 1, resolved that the presentations regarding the activities of the Trust and the financial statements of the Trust for the year ended 28 February 2023 are hereby noted. I would like to confirm the appointment of the following trustees. This is resolution number 2. The trustees are myself, Tarai Muranda, as chairperson, Ms. Sibuyile Mbambo, Ms. Teboho Malachi, Ms. Bridget Mkwena Halala, Reverend Dr. Rasebusi Sidwell Mohutu, Secretariat, please advise on the voting outcomes.
The inspectors of election have presented their preliminary report. They have determined that the majority of stakeholders entitled to vote have considered and noted the annual report and the financial statements of the Trust.
Thank you. Based upon the preliminary report of the inspectors of the election, I declare that the resolution has been adopted. There being no further business to come before the meeting, the voting has now been closed. I would like to thank you all for attending the AGM, my fellow trustees, the Assupol Community Trust executives, Assupol executives, stakeholders, our partners in Umsinga, Ngutu, and Nel Mapiers, thank you so much. And on this note, the meeting is adjourned.